Hey everybody, it's Candace with the Aspen Recreation Center, and this week for dance we're going to be learning about some different steps you can do to practice your jazz dance technique. These should all be things that are pretty easy you can do at home if you have a long hallway or an open space in the living room like I have here. The moves that you're going to be learning today will be moving from easier to harder, kind of like warm up to more advanced. A great move that I always work on with the children is ballet walks. And those involve just walking on our toes, as high up on our eleve, on our toes as we can. And with nice straight knees, you can walk with turned out feet if you can, and your arms nice and round. And just going to try to walk with those straight legs. And these are important because they'll lead up to our cheney turns. You can change it up. You can try to do ballet walks moving sideways. Can do them towards you here. We want to make sure that our body is lined up nice and straight from head to toe so that we're not tipped like this at all. So right over our feet, up on our toes. So do them forwards, do them moving backwards. Another great move to practice is called the grapevine. And sometimes in sports and soccer and things, they'll call it karaoke. And so I'm just going to have my arms straight out to the side. And doing our grapevine, we're going to step right and left. And they're going to take turns with which foot goes in front. So I step left and put my right in front. Step left, put my right in back. So they're taking turns, sharing which side they get to go on. And we want to keep our hips facing the front. A common mistake is that we get our hips twisted to the side in the direction that we're going. We want to see if we can keep our hips nice and square. You can do them on your toes, get them moving nice and fast. Another common mistake is that it gets difficult to keep the body still. We end up with this kind of move. So see if we can keep everything straight and strong and just focus on our legs. Looks like this going to the side. Again, keeping that body still and strong in our arms so that we're not twisting and we're keeping our hips square instead of in the direction that we're going. The next move we're going to learn about is called a chasse, and there's many different ways you can do this. It's also sometimes called a gallop. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to put one foot in front, and then we're just going to bring the other foot together, and then bring that same one out again. So step together, step together, step. Just like that. I'll show it to you coming forwards. So you can use your right leg or your left, pick whichever one. Yeah, and using our left can look just like this. You can also do both legs moving in a backwards direction. Again, we want to try to keep our hips square, just like with our grapevines. So we want to try not twist to the side, but keep our hips facing forwards. And make sure to do both legs, moving both forwards and backwards. So then to make it a little more challenging, you can alternate legs. So right and then left. So you can do a chasse, chasse, chasse. And make sure you do that going forwards and backwards. So that'll add a little bit of challenge. And to add even more of a challenge, you can add some arms in. So I like to put one arm in front of my nose and the other arm out to the side. And you can do that without alternating legs. Or then you can start switching your legs and your arms. So always having an opposite arm and leg out in the front, just like this. Show you that going to the side. And then another way they can be done is going to the side. So again, keeping our arms and body nice and strong so we're not wiggling, and keeping our hips square so that we're not ending up twisted in the direction of which we're going. Can practice them up and down in a hallway in lots of different ways. The next move that we're going to work on is called a pas de bourrée. And pas de bourrées are from ballet, but they're also commonly used in jazz. And what we're going to do is we're going to put one foot out to the side, and then we're going to put it behind, and our feet are across. So then we're going to take that one in front and move it out to the side, and that one that we put in behind originally, it goes take a little step forward. So it's just a 3-step move. There's 1, 2, 3, and then you can repeat with the other side. Make sure you put your weight on that foot that's in front. 1, 2, 3. I'll show you that from the back. Looks just like this. 1, 2, 3. Make sure you put your weight on each step each time. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Pas de bourrée. Show it to you moving forwards. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Our next move is a passe, and we're going to do it walking, but first let's just learn it standing. And what you're going to do is we're going to stand our weight on one leg, and we're going to point our toes and try to bring our foot all the way up to our knee. From this side, it looks just like this, and with our other foot, just like this. A couple things we want to practice with our passe is we want our ankle to be nice and straight, so it's not twisted out like this. So our ankle will be touching our knee, and our toes need to be pointed. Sometimes we don't end up with pointed feet, we just end up with a straight foot like this. So make sure we're pointing our toes. And lastly, we want to make sure that we keep our hips nice and still so we're not lifting up as we do our passe like this. So only as high as we can keep our hips straight and flat and even. So practice balancing on one leg. Right now I'm just standing on a flat foot. You can practice with round arms, just like this, or out. If you need to, you can also hold on to a chair. To make it a little harder, then you can try to rise up and balance on your foot. See how long you can hold it for. Next, what we're going to do with our passes is we're going to do them walking. So you're going to see if you can find that position nice and quickly. I'm going to start on a flat foot, and as that gets easier, you can go from flat foot, rise up, try to hold it a few seconds. Excellent. Looks like this from this side. Try to find something straight ahead at eye level to focus on. That'll help you balance. And again, we want to keep our body nice and straight. If we end up like this, it's tricky to balance on that one leg. And another common mistake is people bending the standing leg. So we have our working leg, the one that's moving, and the one that we're standing on. So we need to keep that one nice and straight. Passes are really important because later we'll be able to turn them and do some pirouettes. And these are jazz passes. They're different than our ballet passes turned out. So our knee is straight ahead to the front. A fun move to work on next is skips. And skips can be done moving forwards and backwards. And it's working on that passe that we just learned, but with a nice big jump. So bring one leg up, and then you get to do a jump, landing on their same leg. You can also do skips, moving backwards, just like this. One thing to practice with your skip is to take a nice big jump, big enough that your leg that you're jumping off of can point straight down to the ground, just like. Skips can be done in a variety of ways so that they can have lots of fun. Can do them around in a circle, can do them moving forwards, moving backwards, and you can have a lot of fun with these. A great way to make our skips a little bit harder and have a little more fun is to turn your skip into a tuck jump. So the only difference is that when we jump, we're going to jump hard enough so that the bottom leg can kick back. So it looks just like this. Now to jump really high, we have to take a nice big plie. If I keep my legs straight, I'm not going to be able to jump very high. But with a nice deep bend with my plie, I'll be able to get a nice big jump. Next, we're going to work on cheney turns. And these are really fun because they don't require balancing on one leg. Cheney means to chain, so we're going to put a whole bunch of them together. And what happens when you turn a whole bunch of times? Get dizzy. So first we're going to learn about how to not get dizzy. So we're going to find something to look at that's eye level in front of us. And we're going to turn our body, but keep looking at that object. And we want to keep our chin nice and level. We don't want to change our position of our head. And as we turn around, and once we can no longer look at that anymore, we're going to bring our head around quickly and spot that object. And then we're going to bring the rest of our body around. Always turning our head so that we're looking at that object right in front of us. Again, keeping our head eye level so we're not looking down at something on the ground or up at something too high. And if we do this a whole bunch, bringing our head around, we won't get dizzy. It's going to take lots of practice. So that's called spotting. So then to do our cheneys are 3-step turns, and they bring you a half turn each way. So take a step to the side, and then a step turns me halfway. Don't forget to spot something, and then around again. We want to keep our body nice and straight so we're not ending up here. Nice straight line, tight tummy, straight knees. Once we're ready, we can do our arms, nice round position. Straight knees, pointed toes. From this side, looks just like this. And then find something eye level. Now we're going to get into some of our bigger moves and our big kicks. These are also called passe. So you can start with a lot of space for these. And we're going to want to have the leg that we kick be nice and straight with pointed toes. Brushing it through the floor each time, just like this. And to the side, we want to keep our hips nice and straight so that we're not lifting at all, keeping our hips flat. Make sure it points as soon as it gets off the ground. It's already pointed right as it leaves the ground, as opposed to getting it pointed once it's up in the air. Big kicks. See how high you can kick while still keeping your legs straight. Doesn't count if we bring our body down. So you have to bring our leg up and keeping our chest up. That mass can also be done to the side. And same thing, we want to keep our hips flat. We don't want to get it higher from lifting our hip up. So keeping our hips nice and flat, you can put your hands there if it helps. So you can do them going to the side. See how high you can kick, keeping your knees straight. They can also be done to the back. So we don't want to drop our chest down. We want to keep our chest up and kick as high as we can to the back. So practice them all 3 ways, to the front, the side, and the back. And then once you're ready, you can do a little combination. You can do 2 to the front, 1 to the side, and 1 to the back. So step, patma, step, patma. This third one, we're going to step and turn, and then step, turn, and kick to the back. And then turn all the way around and start again with our 2 kicks to the front. So looking from the back, looks like this. Then take a step and a patma, step, patma, turn to the side, patma, put it down, turn, and 1 to the back, put it down, turn all the way around, and start again. Make sure you have enough space so you don't kick anything when you're doing these. Otherwise, just practice them straight on to the front or side or back. Our last move that we're going to do is one of my favorites, leaps. Now, you need to make sure you have a nice big space to do leaps. You can do them up and down a nice wide hallway in your home, or if you need to, outside. Make sure you're safe while doing these. Now, the difference, we have done different kinds of leaps and jumps. A jump starts on 2 feet and lands on 2 feet. A hop starts on 1 foot and it takes off and it lands on the same foot, just like our skips that we did. And lastly, our leap is going to leap and change legs. Going to end up on the other leg. And our arms, they're going to stay nice and round right in front of our belly button. And then when we leap, we're going to take this round beach ball and we're going to throw it up in the air in a nice big V. We want to have that V out in front of our nose, because if it gets behind us, then it throws out the rest of our body and our alignment. So right up in front of our nose. So we're going to take a few little runs, steps, and then leap. It's going to look just like this. Excellent. And as you get better, you can try to make them bigger. Eventually, you can get all the way up to the splits in the air. You're going to want to have straight knees and pointed toes. To make it a little more fun, you can have something to jump over. I've got a blue notebook here that I pretend is a puddle. Put that on the floor. Just be careful not to trip on it. Get my nice round arms. Run, 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 and leap. Lastly, we want to make sure that we're landing nice and quietly. And we're going to do that by taking a nice big plie as we land. If we land on a straight leg, we get that big elephant sound. And we want to land nice and softly, like a ballet dancer.